Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Jeff Culbert, and it is now a week post-Spartan race. Last Saturday, I had the opportunity to go up to Vernon Valley Great Gorge, Mountain Creek now, and run what they call the Spartan Super. This is a 10K race. There's supposed to be 25 obstacles. Last Saturday's race was 6.7 miles, 27 total obstacles, and I had the good pleasure of knocking out 26 out of those 27. It was a great day. The rain ended on Friday evening. By the time I got to the course, it was 61 degrees. There was moisture obviously on the course. The ground was still somewhat wet and muddy. The rocks were going to be slippery going up the hills and down the hills, but that didn't bother me. It was a gorgeous, beautiful day. Everybody knows last Saturday here in New Jersey. And I had an 8 o'clock start time. And I had the privilege, as I was getting ready to go over to the preparatory area, I started to practice throwing the spear, did some rope climbs, did some bucket carries, did some atlases, I did some pull-ups just to get myself set and ready and mentally prepared in my head, especially for the spear throw, since with a repaired and replaced shoulder, my throwing is not what it used to be. During the course of while I was doing my practicing and wrapping up, getting ready to go and get onto the start line, there were a couple of kids who were obviously trying to get some things down. They were absolutely botching everything they tried. So being a nice fellow Spartan, I said, look, guys, is this your first event? And of course they said, yes, this is it. I said, well, I could tell you we're newbies. Let me help you with some of the stuff that you're doing right now. So I showed them how to do a proper spear throw. They started to nail that. I showed them how they could easily do a foot lock and get up the rope real quickly. And then I started giving them some advice about the day. I said, how old are you guys? They're 28 years old. There were 5 of them running that day, including their fiance, one of the guys' fiance, so 6 in total. I said to them, I got to tell you, I'm 64. I've been doing these races now for 9 years since I was 55. And one of the things I learned very early on is that this race is a microcosm of what we're going to be facing in life all the time. So you're going to be out here on your first Spartan race and you're enthusiastic right now. And I said, as soon as they say you guys are free to go, you guys are going to take off with the crowd and you're going to start to run this race. And this race is going straight uphill to begin with. Your enthusiasm to charge into the race, like our enthusiasm a lot of times to charge into life, is what we typically tend to do. So by nature, I am a contrarian. So as a contrarian, I try to look around at what everybody else is doing, and I will do the opposite of that. So everybody charges off the start line because everybody's really enthusiastic to get going. If you've ever seen the movie Hidalgo, and they're doing this 1,000-mile race across the Sahara Desert, the guy blows the gun or blows the trumpet, and everybody that's on a horse takes off like a bat out of hell, including the star of the story, Hidalgo, and his rider. As soon as they get out of sight, the horses start to walk versus running. And the guy who's riding Hidalgo goes, it's all about show. And it's the same thing in a Spartan race. Everybody takes off running up this hill, and it's all about show and bravado in the beginning. I start off the race not running. I start off at a very quick walking pace. I have walked Spartan races since I conquered my first one, because I realized very quickly, if I burst out of the gate with a ton of enthusiasm, which is always appreciated, I'm going to start to fatigue rather quickly. I'm going to become very winded by the time I get to the obstacles. As I'm winded, I'm losing strength, stamina, endurance, and the ability to perform because I'm just trying to catch my breath. So I learned early on, if I walk, I maintain and conserve my energy throughout the entire race. When I get to an obstacle, which is, again, a metaphor for what's going to happen to us in life, I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm composed, and I hit that obstacle. I don't fail it, and because I don't fail it, I'm not doing burpees or I'm not doing a penalty lap. So I told these kids the same thing. Listen, I know your enthusiasm because I was there, okay? But I've also learned that if I'm going to conquer this race is like life. Life is our ultimate endurance race. This is a 6.2, as the announcer said, 6.7. And if you start failing, you're going to be hit with burpees. That's the penalty you pay. You're going to be hit with penalty laps. Up and down through the woods, Vernon Valley, anywhere from a tenth to almost a quarter mile, 3/10 are some of these penalty loops. So you fail an obstacle, there is a penalty. Overcome the obstacle, you get to move on to the next and to the next and to the next. So I told them run slow or walk will be much better than bolting out of the gate. As everything got set, we started going. The entire crowd, plus these 6 kids, ran out of the gate. And I said, they're not going to listen to the advice that somebody older and wiser gave them. They're going to learn the hard way. So they take off running up the mountain and I'm walking. By the time I get to the 3rd obstacle, I have now caught up to these 6 kids. Why? Because half of them failed, okay, the 3rd obstacle, and they're sitting there doing burpees, and the other 3 are waiting for the 3 that failed. I do the obstacle and I move on. Shortly thereafter, because I got to know them, I hear, hey Jeff, how's everything going? And they blow by me. Now this happened 9 times on an almost 7-mile course. By the end of the race, I caught them again on the 2nd to last obstacle. They're struggling to pull up this 75, 80-pound wet sandbag, and I just come along and I just pull it straight on up. And I say, guys, I'll get you at the end, because I knew at that stage of the game, we had the rope climb to do, climb up a hill, do the fire jump, and then we were done for the day. They were still on the Hercules hoist when I finished the rope climb, and they were just getting the group together to come to the rope, ran up the hill, jumped over the fire, got my medal, and was ready to go on and do the extra mile when they start coming across the line. So I said to a couple of the guys that were crossing out of the 6, I said, so how did that strategy work for you guys today? And the one guy said, you know, Doc, if we had listened to you and we had walked the course, I can almost guarantee we would have beaten you instead of the other way around. And I said to them, that might have been true. You might have beaten me had you listened and followed to the strategy. I will always tell you this, and as somebody older to somebody younger, take this to heart. Age, wisdom, knowledge always trumps youth and enthusiasm. So I gave you advice, you didn't listen. Hopefully you learned a lesson today. Spartan racing, with all of the obstacles, is the same thing that you guys are going to be facing in life all the time. There are going to be challenges that are going to meet you every single day. There are going to be challenges that you will be able to overcome by yourself. Now, Spartan has a number of different categories. They have competitive, they have age groups or the elites, and then they have the open competition. With the competitive and the age group elites, you are supposed to do these obstacles all on your own. In the open category, you have the ability, if somebody's there, that they can help you. This is not unlike the Tough Mudder, where it is more of a community of people running the Tough Mudder, but your job is to keep an eye on everybody that is around you. If somebody needs a hand to get pulled up and over something, that's your job to help get them over that obstacle. If they need a push from behind to get them over it, that's your job. And conversely, if you need a hand to get over an obstacle or a push to get over an obstacle, there is always somebody going to be there to help you get over your challenge and your obstacle. Now, if you fail, no big deal, you fail. You figure out what you got to do so that the next time you get to that obstacle, okay, you've trained your way up, you've prepared your way up, and you're going to be eventually able to overcome that obstacle. The one thing that I've learned in life, there is no challenge that is too difficult or too hard that without time and perseverance, okay, that you can overcome. And if you take the words from Vince Lombardi, it's not that practice necessarily makes perfect, but it's perfect practice that makes perfect. So you learn what I did in the process of failing. What do I have to do to slowly succeed? Since I came back from shoulder replacement surgery, there is one specific Spartan obstacle that does not matter whether it's rain or shine, I fail every single time now. And it is what is known as Olympus. And they've changed Olympus over the years from when I used to compete pre-COVID with it, where it was a wider angle and it was on a plywood surface, not a rubber-coated surface that gets slippery. They've increased the angle, so it's a little steeper and a little harder to hold on to. And with the limited strength and mobility that I have now post-shoulder surgery, it is just a very taxing, so it's much harder for me to grip and move my arm, because when they did the surgery, they detached certain muscles and reattach them into different places. So just by sheer physical limitation, no matter how hard I stretch or how much I lift to try to improve that range of motion based on how they attach the muscles, I only have so far of a reach. So every time I overextend my reach, there's a little shot of pain in the shoulder because everything is getting overstretched. I have not managed how to get through this obstacle. I have gotten from one piece of plywood to 2 pieces of plywood to 3 pieces of plywood. So this time I got to 4 pieces of plywood, getting to my 5th when I missed the grip and slid down and off because, again, it was sweaty, a little bit wet. And the neoprene rubber just makes it a lot harder than the old plywood. Point is that each time now that I'm tackling this obstacle, I'm getting a little further than I did the time before. I know somewhere in the future, I am going to be able to beat this obstacle and hopefully then can say on my comeback tour post-shoulder surgery, I have now conquered every single obstacle that Spartan can typically throw at me right now. So the point of the message is, life is our endurance race. For me, Spartan is a representation of what life is. They have 5K, they have 10K, they have a 13K. As soon as I finish this 10K Spartan, I am now preparing to go down to Dallas, Texas in October to do their ultra. It's 30 plus miles down in the Dallas, Texas area with over 60 obstacles that I'm going to overcome. It will be the pinnacle of my comeback. And last time I did one here at Vernon Valley Great Gorge, it took me 13 hours and I got through 60 out of 66 obstacles. I'm hoping to do better, quicker time, and hit more obstacles than I did. Whether I do or I don't, it is again a microcosm of life, an endurance race. Obstacles will be thrown at me. To the degree that I have prepared properly, I will overcome the obstacles that I need to overcome. If I fail an obstacle, I know I'm going to get hit with a penalty or a setback. Now, I can't do burpees anymore. They're going to decide whether I'm doing air squats or push-ups, or do I do a penalty loop? And I will learn from the experience. Did I prepare properly enough? Was 2 months enough time? Did I get my timing and my sequence down with my hydration scheme, my nutrition scheme, so that I'm not cramping? I have enough energy throughout the 30 miles that I'm going to have to do. This is all part of the preparatory stuff that we have to do. Again, life now becomes our endurance race. So the question is, how are you going to start to set up your day, set up your routine, so that you are able to conquer all of the obstacles that life will throw at you, not just for a quick moment, but for the entire scope of your life. And if the Bible is correct, God grants us 120 years, I would hope you would start to be thinking about, how do I construct things that I have to do to overcome the obstacles for the next 120 years? So if you're 30, you've got 90 years left. I would encourage you to take a look at who is your oldest living relative, parent, grandparent, or great-grandparent. And of those 3 generations, you will have a person who has lived the longest period of time in your family. That is your life potential based on your family genes and genetics and the environment that your family puts you in. I happen to have the great fortune that my great aunt made it to 101. I have relatives that have been to their late 80s, 90s, late 90s, and I have one that crossed the centurion mark. So I know I have the potential within my genetic makeup to get from birth to 101. I am going to try to push the limit. I would love to have a strong mind, strong, healthy body that will allow me to get from birth to the 120 years that I have been granted. Now, whether I do or don't do that, I'm going to give it my best shot. And part of how I do that is I have incorporated chiropractic as not a treatment for myself. And trust me, after the Spartan race and a full week here in the practice, I've got a 9:15 appointment on the other end of town to get adjusted. I am keeping that come heck or high water. But chiropractic for me is a lifestyle, and I live the lifestyle of a healthy person just as I prepare for a Spartan race. I eat well, I exercise daily, I watch my sleep patterns and how I am falling into quality and quantity of sleep. I try to maintain a great posture for everything I do, sitting, standing, or lying down. My attitude is always exemplary. I stay spiritually connected. I get adjusted regularly. And these are some of the things that you can do to improve your performance throughout life. There was a patient that has come in recently, young man, 23 years old, scoliosis, and he has been working with physical therapists for years, okay, to try to improve his scoliosis. And it has only gotten from 17 to 18 degrees now to 28 degrees in the lower back, and an upper thoracic spine, cervical spine is maintaining 17, 18 degrees. So low back curve has gotten worse over the 7-8 years he's been working with physical therapists. So as a chance, he came into our office and wanted to know what are some of the things that we might be able to do to help him. He's been under care for 1 week now. And in 1 week, I can't tell you the progress that he has made. Now, the curve hasn't gone away in a week, but the tension and the tightness that was in, especially his lumbar spine, where he could barely move, flex, and bend to the side, we've been adjusting him now 3 times in the last week, and the amount of mobility and the less tension that is in his spine is amazing. So he came to me yesterday and he asked, "Doc, should I be continuing to go see the physical therapist while I am now seeing you with chiropractic? Because I'm amazed at how much progress I've made in a week versus 6 years with them." And I told him, I said, "Look it, you are like a stew. And if you're going to make a really great stew, you need all the ingredients. When you came in for your first exam, I told you, you've been having this scoliosis. It's been getting worse, not better, but you've only done physical therapy. It's one piece of the puzzle. It's one ingredient that goes into your stew." I said, "You found chiropractic, you found another ingredient, and you're getting great results. The stew is tasting better with the 2 right ingredients versus 1 ingredient alone." I also told you that during your report of findings when you came in, I wanted you to seek a massage therapist. I wanted you to seek an acupuncturist. I told you to maintain your physical therapy, but most importantly, stay as regular as you can with your chiropractic care. The conversation turned to is that every single medical procedure has been documented that when you're under chiropractic care long term, the medical results of all of those procedures are augmented, and patients do better when those procedures are coupled with somebody who is under regular chiropractic care. And so the patient again asked, "Well, how is that?" I said, "Well, if you look at chiropractic as a treatment, well then you come for chiropractic care, you get adjusted, the pain goes away, and you go away. Have you adopted anything of the chiropractic lifestyle? Are you exercising more? Are you eating better nutrition? Are you getting your sleep? Are you watching your posture? Do you maintain a better attitude? Are you spiritually connected? Are you mentoring others? Do you get along with your peers? And are you getting consistent, regular, long-term care so that instead of reacting to something that is creating pain and inflammation and swelling, but have you gotten to the point where you've corrected that problem, your body's stabilized, and you're getting regular chiropractic care so that your nervous system will thrive, the nerve energy as it is at maximum, and it's like turning up the dimmer switch here in the office. If the dimmer switch is wide open and we're getting full light, full energy, we see and we can get everything done. Same thing goes on with your body. Subluxations are removed, nerve energy is at its maximum, muscles, joints, organ, gland, and skin get maximum nerve energy, your body heals at its best, and not only heals at its best, but is thriving and looking to overcome, adapt, and change. And that's what our life is all about, just as in a Spartan race. You don't know what the conditions are going to be. It could be raining, snowing, freezing, and unless there's lightning in the area, you're still running that race. You have to learn how to adapt and overcome to what the environment is giving you in a Spartan race, just as your body has to learn to adapt to what the environment is giving it. Okay, we now live in a very soft world. I'm running my air conditioning here at the office. It's 71 degrees. It could be 95 degrees outside or 32 degrees outside. I'm in my little bubble living here in a very safe, soft environment. But as soon as I go outside, I've got to learn how to adapt to the heat or adapt to the cold. And your body's the same way. Chiropractic allows you to adapt to the situation that your mind and your body and your spirit are going to be hit with every single day. It's called thriving care versus surviving care. So they've also done a study that was just released in June that people that are under long-term chiropractic care, they have a greater longevity. Okay, so it is true that chiropractic adds years to your life. But the other part of that saying is it adds life to your years. And how it does that is that they found in this study that those people under long-term chiropractic care, not only did their years get longer, but the number of healthy years increased. So as I explained to this young man, if you adapt chiropractic as a lifestyle, not a treatment, and you're under long-term care, you will add years to your life and healthy years to your life by adapting a lifestyle of chiropractic. And it doesn't rely on pills, potions, and lotions or surgery. And when they're needed, thank God they're there. But living the chiropractic lifestyle, when you do need a pill, potion, lotion, or surgery, your responses will be augmented. When I had my shoulder replacement surgery, both the physical therapist and the two orthopedists that were saying were amazed at the progress and the functionality that came back so quickly. You know, everybody was amazed as how come you can do this? And the bottom line that I told them is that, one, I get adjusted regularly, I'm exercising every day, I eat really well, I'm sleeping to maximize my healing, and then I have tools and toys here in my office, such as trigger point therapy, electrical stim, ultrasound, but most importantly, cold laser, plus my phenomenal Magic Cream 24/7 relief, that I use all of the principles that I know in chiropractic, plus getting adjusted, that allowed my body to heal to its maximum ability so that I am fully functional in the office, seeing a full patient load. I work out incredibly every day. I can't do the heavy lifting that I once did, but my repetition counts have gone through the roof. In the past, I was really happy with just knocking out 100 reps and then increasing the weight and then repeating the process. Now that I'm forced to lighter weights because of a 25-pound restriction on the shoulder, I am now pumping out repetition schemes of 185, 200, 250, 300 reps. And now that I'm training for the Ultra, I've coned that repetition scheme down to, I'm increasing my miles and I've increased my incline on the treadmill, so I'm prepared for whatever the terrain is going to be in Dallas. But I'm also making sure that I'm not overdoing, with the muscular repetition, but I'm doing enough reps that I can be very competitive with what I've got to do for the Ultra that is coming. So instead of doing 300 reps, I'm doing 60 reps. But I've increased my miles and the intensity on the treadmill to compensate for what my legs are going to have to do over the long haul of 30. I know any obstacle that they're going to throw at me, 60 reps is more than enough to be able to do a rope climb. 60 reps is more than enough to do twister or bender, because those are things that typically don't go more than 15 or 20 reps, pulls, or hoists. So I know I can do those with that rep count. So again, the moral of this whole long story is life is an endurance race. We are going to be posed just as an endurance race of life with obstacles that are around us all the time. Learn how to overcome those obstacles on your own, or when to ask for help and when to give help to overcome those obstacles. Listen to people who have more experience in life than you do. You can learn by the experience of others and shave the time off of you becoming incompetent versus going through the school of hard knocks where you are learning to do it all on your own through trial and error. So the more advice that you can pull to people and adapt into your lifestyle, whatever you have to do, somebody else that is successful doing it, you do what they do, you will be successful in half the time. Adapt chiropractic as a lifestyle, not necessarily as a treatment mode, and it does both for great. You will get relief care, hopefully you'll move on to corrective stabilizing care, and then get into lifelong wellness-oriented care so your body thrives. And if and when you should need a medical procedure, the medical procedure results will be augmented because of the healthy lifestyle that you have adapted and adopted to through chiropractic and the chiropractic principles. Hopefully you have found this video to be motivating, inspiring, and if you're on YouTube and you see some of our shorts, you always know that it's me, because when you'll see a short, it typically starts out with 64-year-old chiropractor conquers Spartan 4-foot wall, conquers 8-foot wall, overcomes Olympus. And when I overcome Olympus, trust me, there'll be balloons all over the YouTube channel that day. If you found anything that I said inspiring, please hit like and hit subscribe. And if you want to learn more about me and my practice, please visit smcc4u.com. If you're locally to the Hackettstown, New Jersey area and you want to have a tour of our office, you're always more than welcome. Okay, love to show off my office. It's 1,000 square feet, but the things we do in 1,000 square feet I think are truly amazing. I have a phenomenal staff, and that staff is changing and expanding as we speak. So I'm excited about the new blood that is coming into the office and what our potential is for growth in the future. So this is Dr. Jeff Culbert saying, have a great Saturday. I hope my words today have inspired the young to listen to those that are older and a little wiser. For those that are a little older and wiser, that you'll reach back and pull somebody along with you on their journey and help to get them off to a safe and sound start. You guys have a great day. I will see you next week in another video. Dr. Jeff Culbert from Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic Center, your leader in alternative healthcare, where literally your health is in our hands. Have a great day, everyone.